On his debut, Jarno Opmeer wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow is contact again. Ronhard is around.
Melanie, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Hello everybody and welcome along to World Online Racing Season 12, and this is Tier 2 on the PC platform. Tonight we go to a circuit where it is known for its high speed corners, and we saw the closest Formula 1 finish back in 1971 by 5 thousandths. It is of course the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me as per usual we got Luke Etheridge. Luke, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, Jess. Good evening to everyone that is watching at home. Yeah, really looking forward to this race. I think Monza always, as we saw in Formula 1 in 2021, it can produce some real classic races, can produce some shocks as well. So really looking forward to seeing what we get tonight. Thankfully, we've got a few more drivers than we managed to get last week. And also, there's always that possibility around here that the weather could play a part. So it should be, we know it's going to be quick. We know that should be the quickest race on the calendar in terms of time taken. So it should be one to watch.
Yes, we saw that in the Tier 1 qualifying session where it was quite changeable conditions there as well. The drivers didn't know what they were doing, so we could see the same here tonight, but they don't get the full qualifying like they do in Tier 1. In Tier 2, we get the short qualifying, 18 minutes as per usual. We won't see Lenny tonight, and we won't see Leroy tonight, as they will be racing in Tier 1 currently, so I wish them the best of luck to them, which gives the likes of Drake Dempsey for redemption, because he just missed out on the win last week, but he had a very good battle with Lenny Papinto in Canada. Lenny Papinto is the second driver this season to get a second race victory.
Yeah, and I think Drake admitted last time around that probably just pitted a lap or two too early off his set onto his set of soft tyres at the end of that Canadian race. It just really ruined any chances. Didn't have the grip towards the end to battle off with Lenny Papinto. Still though, a second place pretty happy. Has closed that gap though at the top of the championship to just 7 points now, with Drake on 99 and Lenny on 92. But a perfect chance tonight for Drake, obviously, to extend that gap.
Yeah, indeed. So we are about to get going with the qualifying session. 15 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock as well. And the drivers will probably be relieved that it is going to be a dry qualifying session, but we don't know what is obviously going to be for the race. Now, if you're wondering who that dot is, don't worry, you're not seeing things, we're seeing things as well. It is Hazard, by the way, so we will probably have to get used to it as well. We've got quite a few reserve drivers. We've got Sergio, who is filling in for Lenny Papinto in the Mercedes. We have got Harlem Marquez, who is a Tier 3 driver. He is doing another race with us tonight. We also got Bogan, who is reserving tonight as well, and Legend 44. So welcome to those reserves. Everybody else is full time. So basically one of the shortest races on the calendar in terms of time as well. Not many braking zones around this circuit, so the drivers got to be on their A game very, very quickly. And we'll come to it in the race, but ERS management becomes even more vital around this circuit.
Yeah, there's the few braking zones that we've got though are extremely heavy braking zones. As Mark sets the first time with a 122.1, not representative, and he is on the medium tyres anyway. But yeah, it is all about managing that ERS, sticking within DRS range of the car in front as well. 2 DRS zones, one down the main straight into the Westphalia chicane, and one coming out of Lesbo, the second Lesbo, into the Variante Ascari, the Ascari chicane. I can't see us seeing too many overtakes today. I think it is normally the first two chicanes where you do get all the action happening, and I can't see any reason why that would be different tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a few people have invalidated their laps already. Quite a few people are on the medium compounded tyres. So we will go wide on board with a few drivers as they start their laps. Let's go on board with Hazib. We've got Marcus Towler and Drake Dempsey setting the first lap times on the board into the 120s already. So we're going to be heading towards turn 1. Getting a good run into turn 1 is absolutely essential. Straight into the braking zone. The series of chicanes coming up requires a lot of confidence and commitment as well, especially with this heavy braking zones that Luke was talking about as well. Past the Curva Grande then as well, heading past turn 3 as well. It's very, very key. Get the momentum heading towards turn 4 and 5, coming up the Variante de Rogia. Apologies if I said that wrong. He's looking quite good, Hazif, right now. He's purple in sector 1, and now you're going to be approaching the first of the two Lesmos. It's two right-handers. Look easy, but because of the low downforce these drivers will be running, they'll be tricky to now pass second DRS zone and heading towards the next DRS zone into turn number 7. And then you're going to be heading towards the Variante Ascari as well. Very, very short, but it doesn't give you long to pretty much nail your turns pretty much. And we've seen quite a few people spin both in real life and in league racing too, so we will keep an eye on that as the session progresses. And now to this long back straight here, almost at 200 miles per hour, goes the AlphaTauri driver, and now you're past the Parabolica. Well, it's not called the Parabolica anymore, but we're still going to call it the Parabolica. Let's see what he can do on the medium tyres. Comes across the line at 120.9, and to be honest, that is a pretty decent lap because he's not that far behind Marcus Towler and Drake Dempsey, so brilliant stuff from Hazif.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with that on the medium tyres. Definitely will give him hope when he's on the softs that he can maybe get up there with David Zunchek and Harlan Marquis, who is, of course, making his second appearance here from Tier 3. Did okay in Russia, just ended up not finishing in the end, but his pace was definitely up there, so it'll be an interesting one to watch. And I think we've got a couple of drivers making their debut tonight. I believe for this is the first time we've seen Legend 44 all season, and also Sergio Sabrino. He's got into 9th place on the 125.7. A lot of drivers obviously taking advantage of the fact that you don't really see too much difference here between the mediums and the soft tyres. It is a very straightforward one-stop race. You don't put a lot of loads through the tyres just because of the nature of the circuit. Not really too many high-speed corners. Probably only, I mean, Curva Grande is so high-speed that probably doesn't really count too much as a truly severe corner. Likewise with Parabolica. So tyres, easy soft medium strategy for all of the drivers. Starting on the mediums, you are at that risk if there's an early safety car, of course. You are going to be in some big trouble. But 11 minutes to go, and it is Jay fastest at the moment. Morgan Ball in second, and he's another driver, a bit like his teammate. He'll be thinking it's a big opportunity tonight. He's not had a podium for a while. Second in Austria was his last one. He'll be hoping to close that gap up to his teammate, which has just grown a bit at the moment. It is 26 points. So no matter what happens tonight, Drake Dempsey will be leading, as I believe it's Leonard has spun coming out of the first Lesmo.
Yes, it was Leonard that just spun there as well. It looked pretty violent as well. I thought it would have been a retirement there, but luckily it wasn't. So he's going to keep going, of course, and pretty much go in to the pits. David is actually doing quite well in third position. He's been flying under the radar the last couple of weeks, but he took advantage last week as well in Canada and was able to get involved in some very decent battles. He got quite a bit unlucky at times, but maybe this could be the track where this could be, again, a chance to get some decent points. Don't forget, in WOR, the top 10 do score points. No fastest lap, I believe, in World Online Racing. Just, obviously, the top 10 who score will score points. So we'll have to wait and see for that one as well. Harlan Marquez doing very, very well in fourth position as well. But some of these drivers will obviously hope that it's not going to have any safety cars. It's quite common around here, and hopefully that it's not going to have any rain. Everyone's on their out laps as well, but I think it's going to be one of the closest qualifying sessions we've seen because, again, like Austria, it's quite a short lap as well with the high-speed corners. Obviously, there's more braking zones compared to Austria. That's why it is not as short compared to Austria, but everyone is going out once again. Then Marcus Towler He is just about to start his lap as well. Marcus Towler, having had that mentality last week to not give up, he was going towards the back of the field, and usually a driver like him would retire, but he saw the opportunity to get points, and you never know, it could make a difference for him towards the end of the season, because the season still got quite a long way to go until the end, and sometimes with a high caliber drivers, or maybe a bigger turnout of drivers, he may not get points. So for him to get points last week was pretty decent, but he's currently 8th at the moment on the soft tyres. It should be an easy one stop, I'm almost certain, but some people on the mediums, they don't want to use all their softs just in case there's a safety car. May have to go on to 2 sets of softs at the end of the race.
Yeah, certainly. That is obviously a danger. You take a lot of tracks on this game. Most strategies are now a soft medium, so you always have that danger. If you do start on the medium tyres, you are going to be in a bit of trouble. Marcus Towler, though, not looking too bad at the moment on this set of soft tyres. He was the 4th quickest driver on the set of the mediums. It would not surprise me if he's challenging towards the fastest of all, though, on this set of softs. Heading around the Parabolica. Alboreto, of course, just running a bit wide there. That might have cost him time, and that could well make the difference, but comes towards the line. 1:19.381. In terms of league racing, 3 and a bit tenths of a second is an absolutely galactic gap to have over the rest of the drivers, so he'll really be happy with that one. And I think he's definitely a driver who's got some pace and could surprise us as the season goes on. Maybe even a chance tonight to get his first podium.
Yeah, potentially as well. He's been there. Remember, he got very unlucky in Russia as well, but we don't really want to talk about Russia, the track in general for him as well. But he's doing really, really well against the likes of Drake Dempsey as well, because Drake Dempsey comes across the line into P2 as well. A driver that could take the lead of the championship if he gets another potential win tonight as well. Could he get a 3rd win tonight as well? He was so close. He got pole position last week in Canada. He was looking quite confident as well, but unfortunately the tyres got the best of him, and he even regretted pitting earlier for his final set of tyres, and he should have really gone exactly the same time as Lenny Papinta, but Lenny Papinta probably would have done the opposite to Drake Dempsey anyway, and it probably would have been a different story then. It's Marcus Towler on pole position at the moment, Drake Dempsey in 2nd, Harlem in 3rd. JC, our reigning champion, was in 5th place, but Jonah Martins came across the line in 4th position with a 1:19.679, so those two quite close together. Jonah Martins did pretty well in Zandvoort. I believe that was the last time we saw him race as well, and he's looking to have another good result as well. He started the season off not very well. Remember in Belgium where he did a George Russell and crashed under safety car, and then he DNF'd in the 2nd race, but he started to pick his form back up again, but he just can't afford to get any DNFs, because that is not where you get points, and you could lack a bit of confidence. But P4, he'll be pretty happy with that at the moment.
Yeah, he will. I mean, his best result so far was the Russian Grand Prix. 2nd place there. More points in that race than he's got in the rest of them combined. And in his last 3 races that he's taken part in, he's scored points. So he's definitely trending in the right direction. And 4th place in qualifying, always a good opportunity here. Alternate strategy can work for those a bit lower down the order. The issue is, as we see at so many other circuits, is if you get stuck in a DRS zone, and if the track stays closed together, you are going to find it difficult to overtake if you're not directly behind a car that doesn't have any DRS. So that is always a bit of a warning that you've got to look out for. I'm just trying to see if there's any drivers that are flying it around on a faster lap at the moment. Obviously, Jonah, he looks as though he's heading straight back towards the pitch. I think JST, reigning champion, he comes towards the finish line. Goes fastest of everyone. 1:19.325 for the Alpine. Came so close to it. You know, he's put some good performances in so far this season. Got that win in Russia after the steward's decision took it away from Jonah, so he'll be happy with that one. And I think Legend, he's setting a pretty decent lap at the moment on the softs.
Yeah, he is. Currently in 11th, the alternate strategy pole position, as it were. I'm sure if he wants to be qualifying high, he doesn't want to be 10th, 9th or 8th, because you'll have more of an advantage starting lower down in the grid for the alternate strategy. But he's in 9th position, the position that you do not want to be in, at 1:19.869. But he still has more time to find. 4 minutes 50 left to go. And to be honest, if he's got to find, I would say, 6 attempts, and then you'll get roughly where JC is at the moment, our reigning champion, 1:19.3 as well. He's been flying under the radar this season as well. He's like a Lewis Hamilton in 2009, where he hasn't really got off the season well. Usually reigning champions do have a strong start to the season, but Jay has not in the Alpine car, so he's got a lot of work to do, and he had the privilege of being the first Tier 2 champion. We thought he was going to be in Tier 1, but unfortunately did not have the pace to be in a Tier 1. But we could see a new champion towards the end of the season if he does not keep his form up as well. Morgan Ball will go into the pits. Interestingly enough, he's on 2 laps on the soft tyres as well. Quite a few people are as well. So there may be a hint of rain at the start of the session, or maybe towards the end of the session as well. We'll have to wait and see. Or they may have some softs in the tank that they could use in the race, so they may not be using these set of tyres for the race at all potentially as well, especially if you want to be going on some faster lap times. But if you don't go on a faster lap time, you could be in a lot of trouble then. So we've got Harlem and Jonah on their out laps at the moment. They're going to see if they got some clear traffic, and they may be getting 1 or 2 laps in already on the soft tyres, and if they bottle it, they have a chance to go again. Whereas everybody else who's stuck in the pits, they could be in a bit of trouble. The ones who are still out on circuit that have been on 2 laps, for example, on those softs, could be in a bit of trouble. Mark, I believe, is out on circuit. Let me just see. There he is. He's up to the line, and that's a decent lap from him. Not far behind Drake Dempsey, our current second place, well, championship leader in the championship. Mark 313 P5 looking good for the Ferrari. And don't forget, one thing I forgot to mention, this is the home of the Tifosi. So for both Mark and David, that is huge pressure going into this race. They want to deliver, but for Mark, I think he'll be happy, but I'm sure the Tifosi would want something more, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, it's for Tifosi. Winning is the only thing that matters. But let's not forget another Italian team that has done very well at this circuit. That's claimed their only 2 victories in Formula 1 under different guises, and that is AlphaTauri, 2020 with Pierre Gasly, and of course in 2008 back with Sebastian Vettel, another Italian team, and they're 2nd and 11th in the moment. Not really too bad of a place to be in. Marcus Towler on track at the moment on his outlap. It'll be interesting to see whether he can get himself further up the order. So close at the top, just under a tenth of a second separating the top 3. Drake Dempsey not that far behind either, less than half a second separating the top 10 drivers. It's what we've come to expect now with WOR, the drivers being this close together. But we have got a few cars out on their first laps at the moment, and I think Harlan Marquis is going to be one of the first to finish.
Yep, he is as well. He's almost 2 tenths up on his sector 2 time, and he's backing off, I think, a little bit maybe, so he could be going again. Yes, he's going to go again, I believe, because I don't think he's not going to improve going through the Palabora Cup, but he's going to be one of the first to cross the line very, very soon with 1 minute 40 to go. He probably has time for 2 laps due to the fact that how short this lap is going to be, so we'll see what his first lap is at the moment. And one thing that we haven't mentioned about this track as Jonah Martins goes up to the top of the timing sheets at the moment, 1:19.2. You're seeing what the McLarens are doing right now, which is quite handy. Let me just find Drake Dempsey. Morgan Ball gave Drake Dempsey a tow heading towards Curb Gondley heading towards turn 4. We've seen that in real life where it could compromise people qualifying with people doing their best to try and get the best tow possible. They don't want to be the one that's causing the tow, but the 2 McLarens, obviously they must be in a party together. That wonders as well, and I'm sure other teammates will hopefully be taking advantage of that. I think the other 2 is the team you're just talking about, Luke, the AlphaTauris. They're going to probably get the tow as well. Drake Dempsey, let's see how much the tow has affected the McLaren driver. 1:19.3, but he still has time to find, but he is slowing down, so that could be his qualifying done. Next person to, I think, start their lap is one of the Alfa Romeo drivers. Another home Grand Prix for them because they're based in Italy, near where the Ferrari team are based as well. Quite a huge heritage, the Alfa Romeo team as well. So both the drivers there need to be doing well. I think there's only one driver, Leonard, actually, as well, who had a little bit of a spin earlier. But at least he has one more chance to have a go. 15 seconds left on the clock, and everyone is getting their final laps in. Let's see who's going to get pole position for the Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah, let's see. And it's the first person I think who's actually going to finish their run here is going to be JSC. Reigning champion is in 3rd place at the moment. Doesn't need to find a lot to get himself on provisional pole position, and he's dived it into the pits right at the end, teasing us there. Jonah comes across the line. Obviously, he was heading back into the pits, not expecting any more improvements from him. Legend is just under a tenth of a second up at the moment, so this could sneak him into the top 10. But he might have been better off just backing off of this lap and staying behind David Sunjay. Don't want to be going too much quicker than what he's doing at the moment. So Legend heads towards the finish line, and he does end up sneaking up into that 10th place. Next up, we've got the Mercedes drivers then coming towards the line. Sergio gets himself up into 7th. Then it is going to be Taz. He is in 10th at the moment. Can he improve at all? He is slightly up on his best. In the end, though, he does drop down. I can't see Drake going quicker. Morgan Ball, though, he is improving. This might get himself ahead of Marcus Towler for now. Morgan Ball comes across the line. And no, he stays in 5th place. So Jonah's time is looking pretty good at the moment. I can't see, unless we get someone coming from a long way down the order, I can't see anyone who's going to beat it. Maybe Bogan. He's heading towards the line. He's looking very quick indeed. And in the end, though, only good enough for 4th.
Yes, nobody else is improving. I think the only person that could improve is Days Rhombus. He was looking very, very good in the middle set, about 5 tenths up. So we'll see if he can get inside the top 10. He does get inside the top 10. Brilliant stuff from the Williams driver. A 1 minute 19.7, but surely he wanted 11th place. 5 thousandths lower and he would have been 11th place. So not ideal, but still a good qualifying lap. So for the first time this season, I believe, Jonah Martin's on provisional, well, he is on pole position in the Aston Martin and has upset the Italian teams quite massively as well. And we thought the McLaren's toe would have a huge advantage. Turned out Jonah Martins didn't need that toe, did he?
No, I think, again, Drake Dempsey was another one. Just lost it through the final corner. Van wide, had to lift off a tiny bit to avoid spinning the car, to avoid invalidating. And that would have definitely cost you, I think, quite a chunk more than 17 thousandths of a second. But still, 2nd place, a good place to be. Jay and Bogan, 3rd and 4th. Top 5 drivers separated by a 10th of a second. Should be a fantastic race, Jess.
Yeah, it should. We are about to get started then. The top 16 separated by less than 7 tenths, which I have to say is crazy. And it's shaping up to be a good race already. So make sure you stay tuned for what's to come. Don't you dare tune out as well. There's still plenty of action to behold as well. But just to let you know as well, season 11, we didn't have the Italian Grand Prix. The only season where Monza was not on the F1 calendar. I think Austria, Britain and Belgium, it was on every WOR calendar. And this is the first time that season 12 makes a reappearance. So 5.7 kilometres long is the circuit, 11 turns, 4 to the left, 7 to the right, with 2 DRS zones for overtaking. We have 1 from the Parabolica to the start finish straight and 1 just before Ascari. In many of the tiers tonight, we have seen some intense battles in those corners as well, and we saw quite a few winners perform some great miracles, including Young Power as well a few seasons ago. So we've seen many photo finishes in the past in Xbox Season 10. This is one of them as they go side by side across the line and nothing could touch them to take the victory, and this is what benefited them as well. And we saw Dominic making a brilliant double overtake heading towards turn 1, and I have to say that was absolutely insane work for him, and that got him one of his best results of the season. But without further ado, let's go straight into the race. Easy one-stop strategy for the drivers. It's either soft to mediums or medium to soft. The tyre deck is not too bad around here, but it's a lot harder compared to previous games. So they may be on the soft tyres a little bit less compared to obviously what we saw in F1 2020 as well, because obviously the handling model on F1 2021 is a lot different compared to F1 2020. Basically, the new regulations on F1 2022, the drivers got to get used to it there. And every game, we've got to get used to different handling models entirely. So that should be interesting. But anyway, look at the tyres, Luke. We'll see what tyres we've got on for the drivers. And not really a surprise, everyone outside the top 10 has gone for the medium tyres.
Yeah, I think we could have predicted that one, couldn't we, before we even put the stream up there. Yeah, unsurprisingly, top 10 on the softs, everyone else outside that on the mediums. So Jonas, Dovsdan, Taz, Legend, David Junjak, Leonard and Heisif. It's a chance. It's definitely an opportunity. They're not too far back on those mediums. They've got to try and stay within a second though after those first 2 laps. First time they'll be able to use DRS is down towards Ascari on lap number 3. And this is quite a rapid formation lap by Jonah Martins at the moment. He's just going for it almost around the second Lesbo before Drake Dempsey's even exited the first one.
Exactly. I think a few people are taking the formation lap quite fast actually, and they think they can warm their tyres quickly by just going fast, but not necessarily around this track. And in particular, if you're on the mediums as well, you're going to see more people weaving. So we're seeing Drake weave and we're seeing JST weave as well. But Jonah, could that compromise him at the start of the race? Because turn 1, heavy braking zone. If he gets caught out by Drake, then probably that will be the reason why. So we've got Jonah all the way down to Days Wombers on the softs. Everyone else will be on the mediums. And ones on the mediums, they're going to hope there's no safety car. But the ones on the softs, if there's a safety car early on, that could be a free pit stop as well. But Jonah Martins will have to wait a very long time for everybody else to make their way onto the grid. I wonder if his tyres are going to get cold anytime soon, Luke.
Yeah, his tyres will be getting cold. Thankfully, they don't really have to worry about it on this game, but in real life, we'd be talking about the engine getting hot as well. Your brakes are going to be getting cold. Is that what you really want as you're heading down towards the Retifilio chicane? One of the hardest braking zones in Formula 1. Do you really want to be there with cold brakes and cold tyres? You can see most of the grid is now lining up. Leonard only just coming on to the back of the grid now to take up his 15th slot. He's got Hasif alongside him. Could be a very interesting turn one. We've seen some big shunts over the years. Carfagane and Rosberg. I think it was Liuzzi and Rosberg. Something in 2011 had a massive accident. Barrichello getting involved in that as well. Thankfully, they were able to get out unscathed. Hopefully, everyone makes it through turn one cleanly here.
Here we go then. We're about to find out and see because the 5 red lights are on. And we are underway. Let's see who has the better start this week. Is it Drake or is it Jonah? Looks like Drake almost had the better getaway, but Jonah tries to cover him off and possibly take the lead as they all make their way towards the dreaded turn one as well. Jonah just about holds on to the lead, but look at Bogan. Bogan's had an almighty start against JST. JST has dropped down into 4th position. Looks like for the majority of the front guys, it looks completely clean so far. Drake Dempsey has been left vulnerable right now, but can he get past Jonah into turn 4, one of the first variantes? He does not. All the Aston Martins almost got tangled with Bogan, and JST unfortunately has dropped down to 5th, but Marcus Towler goes round the inside of Marcus Towler. Maybe Marcus Towler could fight back. JC may be heading towards the second Lesmo, which he does, up into 4th place right now. He's doing a stellar job right now. All the grid's still pretty close together. It's pretty decent. We got some drivers that have turned up quite suddenly at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how they do, but so far no major trouble, surprisingly.
No major trouble indeed. I'm just wondering whether David Junjak at the back has got any damage, because he seems to be one that is dropping quite a long way off, but can't see any visible damage with the model on this game, though. It is very possible that he has broken that front wing. He'll have to come into the pits if that's the case. That's pretty much game over for him at this moment in time. But Jonah just about managed to cover off that start there. It looked like he did get the better getaway initially, whether Drake used a bit more ERS on the run down towards turn 1. Couldn't make it work around the outside. I thought Bogan was going to get involved as well. But in the end, most of the drivers are through cleanly. David has come into the pits then to get rid of a damaged front wing and get rid of those medium tyres. A disastrous first lap for Days Bombers. He lost 5 places. Biggest winners were Legend and Leonard, both of them up 3 positions. It's probably all going to settle down now into a bit of a train, and then we're going to have to wait and see until the strategy. Don't expect the drivers to be too patient though, coming through the pit stops, especially if you're at the back of the soft runners. So Harlem and Sergio could well be the first drivers to come into the pits for the mediums. I think we're at least 6 or 7 laps away though before anyone realistically considers that.
Yeah, it's not that long in terms of the pit lane loss around this track, so people may try to go for the undercut more than some other tracks too on the WOR calendar, but there's still people that have done the undercuts before, or the overcuts before in some track, and it paid off. Zandvoort being one of them as well. A few people staying out just a little bit later, and it paid off. So it does depend on the pace too. To the Aston Martins, 1 and 3 at the moment, as Jernav Doven gets past F1 legend 44 up into P10. He's the highest of the medium runners so far. Sergio as well is up into 9th, benefiting from obviously David crashing out earlier on and getting from wind damage. Dave Rombus did not have the best of start here as well, and as we mentioned, DRS train's going to be hugely affected. We saw in F1 Esports where it could be quite costly in terms of position because they can't get the moves done, and I can't wait until Monza in real life on F1 2022 because you're going to find the cars more easier to follow as well, and I think we could see more battles here as well, so looking forward to that game when it comes out as well. Speaking of the Ferrari, he's under pressure from Harlem as well from Tier 3. He has a point to prove because who knows, he could be in Tier 2 full time this season, heading towards the first Lesmo. He can't quite get past, and if it was F1 on 2022 cars, surely he would have been a lot more closer right now. A2 not in the DRS train is Days Bombers and David, everyone else on the DRS train. Mark 313 tried to cover off Harlem there just for the moment, but Harlem does have the DRS. But look at Drake Dempsey actually for Ascari. He was closer than he's ever been in this lap, but unfortunately he couldn't get past, so I reckon he's going to go try and get past around about lap 4, but Sergio got past I think quite a few cars. Harlem's off. Let me just see where it is if I try and find his car. He is a spun near Ascari, actually, in the back straight. So not ideal for him. I just talked good to him, and he spun, unfortunately. But it doesn't like he's got any visible damage, but Dozvan gets past Sergio up to P9, but we got a battle for the lead as Drake Dempsey makes his way into turn 1. I said he was going to do it then, just before, and he did. So good job for him, and he's now your race leader for Jonah Martins in P2.
Yeah, straightforward DRS pass there for Drake Dempsey into the lead of this race. Jonah Martins not going to be able to fight back, I don't think, into the Roger chicane. So yeah, just stays back by for now. That's okay for these two. They won't cost too much time if they keep swapping over in that sort of fashion and don't really, cost themselves, don't really start battling too hard. And that's what the frustration is going to be for Bogan, Marcus, Jay, Morgan and Mark. That train has now shrunk as we've seen Jonas Dovzan get himself up into the top 8 now. Lead car under medium tyres. Jay the first one to get the penalty. And if the field stays this close together, that is going to be costly. You do see the odd penalties around here. It is sometimes, running wide out of Lesbo, cutting the inside of Ascari, and also just running a bit wide, or perhaps cutting the inside of the Roger chicane. The likely point you're going to see penalties, as is a yellow flag again, and I think that's Legend this time, who's gone for a spin in the middle of Ascari. So he gets away without any damage, I think, drops himself down into 13th place, as I don't think we're going to see a chase for the lead this time, but Bogan is right underneath his teammate here, tries to pull out of the slipstream to try and go for a move on the brakes, perhaps. Can't quite get close up, and it's all just starting to get very close together. Drake has to go defensive, stays in the lead. Bogan tries to get a better exit here, might get the traction coming out of the Rettifilio, loses the throttle though, and stays in 3rd place for now. It's all starting to get a bit feisty at the front. If they battle really hard, that could really close things up in this race.
Yeah, we can, and it looks like the Aston Martin are trying to fight once again into turn 4, but couldn't quite do it on this occasion. But this is going to allow Marcus Towler to really get into this fight for the race victory. We did say earlier that he was on course for his first podium a few times. I think Imola was the one where he got absolutely close to getting a podium, but he hasn't got one, and he's doing very, very well indeed. There could have been some times where we would have been in a high position in this race, but unfortunately there was a few faster drivers ahead of him. But still, with a few key players missing tonight, this could be his chance as well. And with JST having a time penalty behind him, then he can really concentrate on what's in front of him rather than behind him as well. I wonder if the two Aston Martins will be playing teamwork as well. Even though Bogan, I believe, is a reserve driver, he's still going to hopefully help Jonah Martins, because Jonah Martins still has a point to prove in this championship after missing last week, of course, where we went to the Canadian Grand Prix, where we saw Lenny Papinta take the race victory. We're seeing Jonah Martins go for the race lead now, actually similar to what Drake Dempsey did, but Jonah Martins had a more difficult time compared to Drake Dempsey there. So Jonah Martins retakes the race lead. I won't be surprised if it'll not be the first time he does that. I'm sure Drake Dempsey will go for the move for the lead into turn 1 very, very soon. That's just how powerful that DRS can be on occasion as well. Morgan Bull, Drake's teammate, gets past JST up into P5. So JST seems to be struggling. Maybe the penalty may have costed him just a little bit there.
Yeah, I do think he seems to be the driver struggling the most in this train at the moment. That gap was building between Marcus and Jay, and that just gave Morgan Ball, the Welshman, the opportunity to get himself into the top 5, stay on the back of these drivers, and just see what you can do at the moment. He's sort of stuck in this train. Drake Dempsey's really closing up behind Jonah Martins. You're not going to go for a move into Ascari, really, unless Ascari front makes a mistake, as Legend becomes the second driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty, and Jonah very wild on the exit of Ascari. If there wasn't DRS on this game, I'd say Drake might go for the moving parabolica, but he's done the sensible thing. Just waits behind now to try and get that better exit. Extremely close to the back of Jonah Martins. I can't see a lot the Aston Martin driver's going to be able to do here. And he's got a lot less ERS, about 45% less. And there we go. Drake Dempsey sails down the inside, back into the lead. And it wouldn't surprise me if Bogan tries to follow through sooner rather than later.
Well, he does know that Jonah Martins and Drake Dempsey keep swapping for the lead, so if he knows their tactics already, Bogan could really capitalise and try and possibly get P2 from Jonah Martins, which he's actually going to do right now. He's got amazing traction past Curva Grande now, heading towards turn 4, braking just before the 100-metre ball, but Jonah had the better traction on exit, which helped him ever so slightly. But Bogan was very, very close there. He's hanging in there as well, and who knows, he could pressurise the top 2 into a mistake, getting time penalties, and he could be on course to be winning this race. You never know. We've seen many drivers in many tiers gone by in WOR history who have done exactly that, so don't be surprised if we see that again here tonight as well. Who else is close on the track? We've got JST, who is still on this train but struggling a little bit more. Sergio struggling a little bit more on the soft compounder tyres. I wonder if the softs are starting to degrade now as well. Don't be surprised to see majority of people coming in round about now. So Drake Dempsey will be the one to control this field. Will he be the one that goes into the pit first, or will it be Jonah Martins? We will see. So they're going towards lap 8 now. No one in the top 3 is thinking about pitting. Neither is Marcus Towler or Morgan Bull. So probably in a few more laps' time they're going to be doing it so far. But Bogan looks like he has a better chance than ever getting past turn 1. But no, he thinks better of it. He's deciding to stay patient and let those two fight for it. But the more you do that, Marcus Towler will probably think the same thing.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is here, of course. Bogan knows if he sends one up the inside, gets it a bit long, he might not only wipe Jonah out, he might wipe Drake out as well, and will probably get himself a very sizable penalty. So he can't just send it down the inside, as we've seen so many drivers do into turn 1 here at Monza. He's got to be a bit more circumspect. He's got to be a bit more careful and just try to maybe force Jonah into a slight mistake on the traction and get the better exit. And that might be his opportunity. He also knows if he sends one and it doesn't work, that is going to give Marcus Towler a lovely opportunity to maybe get himself onto the podium as well. So, a lot of things going through the driver's head here. I think we're still probably a lap or 2 away before we see drivers thinking about coming into the pits. Again, quite a low tyre wear circuit here, and these top 7 are still pulling away from Sergio, Jernedge and Leonard. Of course, Sergio is on the soft tyres and sort of in no man's land at the moment on those softs, so he's going to find it quite difficult indeed. Drake leads us around the parabolica though for the 8th time, so we've still got 19 more times to go around in this race, and he's just pulling away from Jonah ever so slightly. That extra ERS that Drake has got is really putting him in good stead at the moment, because Jonah cannot get close enough into turn 1.
I'm keeping an eye on Bogan's ERS as well. He's managing it absolutely perfectly, only using it until the best opportune moment. And Sergio looks like he's under pressure for more of the medium runners, as one of them has just got past him. So maybe we've hit the crossover point already, and we're already on lap 9. So I think Sergio will probably go into the pit ASAP, really, because otherwise he's going to struggle a lot, because even Leonard will start to catch up, even Taz as well. I have to say, fair play to Leonard and Taz. They've been having great races on the medium compounded tyres. They're keeping out of trouble. Taz is usually a one that gets involved in incidents, and so far he's been keeping it clean throughout the race. Let's hopefully he gets his first point in a while this season, because I believe he didn't get any points last week. He DNF, so I think he needs a recovery to make sure we get some points tonight. But still, anything can happen in Formula 1. It usually does. There has been no safety cars yet, so still a chance for him to try and get past some certain drivers. And Sergio's going to try and actually fight back on Jerne Dozvan. I think I've said that name right, as they head towards the parabolic. I don't think any of the top guys are going in there. They're leaving it as late as they possibly can, so I wonder if they're seeing things that we're not. Maybe a threat of weather? No, we're not. We're seeing the first of the 2 runners pitting. That is Morgan Bull and Mark 313. I'm seeing why Morgan Bull is pitting. He's covering off his teammate who's leading this race.
Yeah, and Mark as well was so wide out the exit of Ascavi. He nearly hit the wall on the outside of turn number 10, so not too surprising to see him come into the pits as well, because he'd also dropped outside of the DRS range. So they're the first 2 drivers to come into the pits, and it will now be intriguing to see what sort of times they are setting. I can't see them pulling off an undercut in just 1 lap to the drivers up ahead of them, but Marcus might be in a bit of trouble to them, as Mark completely gets turn number 1 wrong and gets himself a 5-second penalty for doing so. Not able to break his lead on those mediums as he was hoping for, but now we've had a couple of drivers come into the pits. That should, like the touch paper, that should be a sign for some of the other soft runners to start to come in as well. Days Rhombus, his AI, has actually come into the pit. Bit of a nightmare for him. He disconnected early on. Unfortunately, he's been unable to get into the session. Hopefully he can get in before the end. Either way, it doesn't look like he's going to be getting any points tonight. Marcus might be at this lap. You've got to think one of the Aston Martins has got to come in, otherwise they're really going to put themselves in trouble with a double stack. I think Bogan will do whatever his teammate doesn't do on this lap. And there you go, Bogan stays out. He takes the lead of the race, and our lead 2 cars are in.
There we go then. I was not that surprised that Bogan has stayed out. Of course, Jonah Martins being the full-time driver, whereas Bogan is not. So Bogan was willing to sacrifice himself for his teammate, which I have to say is pretty decent as well. And we'll see where Bogan ends up when he pits as well. So Drake Dempsey, he started, well, getting into the pit in the race lead, and he will stay in the net race lead at this moment in time, and he gets the undercut quite perfectly as well. Morgan Bull, he's pulled the undercut of dreams. He is up into 3rd place at the moment, but we'll see where Bogan ends up in all this as well. Morgan Bull has got to produce an outlap of his life to make sure that the Aston Martins have nothing to do with this race so far, because we could have a fight between McLaren and the Aston Martins, which we haven't seen in a while. Actually, I think, when was the last time we saw McLaren versus Aston Martin battle for the constructors? F1 2020, when Aston Martin were racing point. Yeah, we saw McLaren, who was in P3 at the time anyway, and were able to capitalise on that racing point, unfortunately. I think Alpine scored, better than a racing point straight Aston Martin that year, but Alpine obviously did a lot better again this year as well, last year as well. So remains to be seen. Bogan, surprise, is in. I'm surprised that JST has stayed out. I thought he would have gone into the pits and followed Bogan in, but he is not. This is going to be very, very costly, because the more he stays out, the more time he's going to lose, and in a few laps' time, the softs will be more viable tyres. So that is not good. But we'll see where Bogan ends up. Will he be ahead of Morgan Bull, or will he be behind? It's going to be tight, actually. Bogan could get P2 again, but he's got Morgan Bull to contend with as well. Maybe his teammate will help him a little bit. Morgan Bull and Bogan going side by side into turn 1. Morgan Bull just takes it.
Yeah, great driving there from Morgan Bull. Obviously, on the racing line, able to take a bit later on the brakes and round the outside. Bogan tried his best to fight off, but he might now be under some trouble here from Marcus Towler. Is he going to send it down the inside into the Rogier chicane? Down the inside goes the Alpha Tauri. Bogan's going to have the inside for the second part, but I don't think those tyres are up to temperature yet. And what looked like a possible P3 position, net P3 after the pit stops, all of a sudden it's a net P5 for Bogan. He drops behind Marcus Towler, who now needs to get a move on, because he's almost dropped to a second behind Morgan Bull, which could really spread this train up. Interestingly, first lap after the pit stops, Drake Dempsey went for it on his ERS to try and get a second ahead of Jonah Martins. He's about 0.95 ahead at the DRS detection point. That extra half a tenth of a second, again, could prove to be extremely crucial in the final stages. Drake Dempsey still in the net lead from Jonah Martins, Morgan Bull, Marcus Towler, Bogan and Mark, as Jay, he's carrying on again, and it is getting quite overcast at this circuit.
So that is why he's potentially staying out. I did question a little bit, but I wonder what his tyres are going to be. I think he's going to be in puncture territory. So the mediums, the guys on the mediums could be on a masterstroke of a strategy. And if that is the case, Leonard could be the race leader. Don't forget, Leonard got a surprise podium last week, which I have to say was a brilliant result as well. It was actually on pace. It was on merit as well. He was looking fast all weekend as well. Could he be on for his second podium in a row? It's got dark very quickly, actually. So that's probably why. But they're already past the sell-by date, those soft tyres. I wouldn't want to be at the Alpine driver JST right now, because he's losing so much grip already, going for a scar, and very, very soon the medium runners will pretty much catch up to him. I'm surprised Leonard hasn't catch up to him already. That's probably why Sergio has stayed out as well. So both of the soft runners have stayed out. Taz obviously stayed out on the mediums, and if nobody goes for the softs in the next couple of laps, then strongly suggest it could rain, but it may not rain enough for the intermediate tyres. We've seen on occasion where it just rains just enough for the slick tyres. So for the likes of obviously Drake Dempsey and Jonah Martins, they're going to hope the guys at the front will have to pit for a set of the slick tyres rather than the intermediate tyres.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Those on the those that have pitted from the softs to the mediums are thinking, right, it's just where I'm not sure I'm not going to get a puncture. But I say that F1 legends coming to the pits and put on a set of hard tyres, which you wouldn't do if it was going to rain at any point in this race. So it's a bit interesting, this, because Jay and Sergio, they're doing something here that you wouldn't do unless you thought there was going to be rain in this race. And F1 legends strategy, and the strategy of most of the others, says we're expecting a pretty normal dry race here. So unless Jay, unless F1 Legends has got it completely wrong and hasn't paid attention to the weather, or unless Jay and Sergio are just thinking possibly in a gamble for a safety car. But with the pack being relatively spread out, I'm not sure you're going to get that. But this is a very intriguing situation we're in at the moment. Bogan also managed to get back ahead of Marcus Towler. And importantly, Marcus Towler is now out of the DRS range. So expect the top 4 out of those that have pitted. They might just be able to pull a bit of a gap now. And this could be a great opportunity for all of them to get some really good points. McLaren versus Aston Martin for the race win, as long as it stays dry.
I wonder if we get to see this more often in real life with the new regulation of cars. You never know. I really do hope so. With 2 prestige manufacturers of McLaren and Aston Martin. Aston Martin making their pretty much Formula 1 return last season. Didn't go quite so well, of course, but they're making their inroads for this season. As Jonah Martins has got past Drake Dempsey, Bogan has got past Morgan Bull, so both the Aston Martins are making headway on the McLaren driver. So Jonah Martins is your net race leader if the track is not wet enough for the intermediate tide. It's not raining yet, so they're probably relieved about that at the moment, but Jonah Martins doing an incredible job so far. But expect Drake Dempsey to go for the move again into turn 1 on lap 16. I'm keeping an eye on Jay's tyres. I really do hope in the next game we get to see the tyre wear from the drivers. I think we used to see it on one of the games where we saw the fuel as well, so I hope we do get to see the tyre wear at some point, because it will just give us an idea on how... It's raining! It is raining here at Monza. I can see it on the halo. Oh, this is starting to get interesting. When will it be wet enough for inters, or will it just be slicks? Oh my god, this is going to get spicy, Luke.
I thought I could see some rain. I wasn't sure whether it's just my eyes playing up a bit, because you can barely see it at the moment. If it stays like this, it's just a dry race. If it stays like this, you've got absolutely no chance of it being anywhere near a set of the intermediate tyres. It needs to start, realistically, for Jay and Sergio, it needs to start tipping it down now. They need biblical levels of weather this lap. Leonard, Jernaj, and Haysif and Taz can afford to go a bit longer as Drake Dempsey retakes the net lead. Well, we say net lead. He retakes 7th place. If the weather changes, who knows who's in the net lead at this moment in time. So Drake retakes 7th place. Jonah's got a bit of a run on him, though, coming through Curva Grande. It does look as though that main's getting a tiny bit heavier, but still not a lot to worry about. He's going to have to go the long way around here, is Jonah, and there's not enough of a gap there. So he stays in 8th place for now. Drake in 7th. Jay and Sergio, they're just praying for their tyres to last. But obviously, with that penalty for Jay, Leonard is in a really good position, not just to get another podium, but possibly even his first win of the season. Who would have expected that after qualifying?
Exactly. Leonard's qualifying, I have to say, was not the best, but maybe he was just thinking about the race in general and not qualifying, and maybe he wanted to go onto the alternate strategy, so maybe he was doing the alternate strategy on purpose, which could work wonders. And to be fair, his race has been going pretty decent anyway, making a few positions, so yeah, maybe he wanted to try a bit of a Jarno Opmeer strat potentially as well, which has obviously worked quite well for Jarno Opmeer in the past, but is working well for Leonard as well. And obviously Jarno Opmeer was in the Alfa Romeo a few seasons ago in F1 Esports. Now he's obviously in the Merc, so that is quite common. Maybe Leonard will be in the Mercedes next season in WOR. We'll have to wait and see, but Dozovan looks like he's going to get past Leonard potentially as well, heading towards turn 4, even though they're both on the medium tyres as well. We get to see as well with the crossover period who is good when the rain is starting to fall harder and who is not, because the track is still, it's not the best in terms of grip, but I know especially the 2 Les modes are going to be very tricky, and obviously Ascari as well going to be very tricky as well, so you've got to keep it very, very cautious. Manage your ERS effectively as well. You won't be using it much at that point, and we're also going to keep an eye on the DRS disable sign in order to tell when it's going to rain. But in most races, people pit before that, because if you just wait until DRS disable pops up, it sometimes can be too late.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I've just had a look at his lap time. Lap 13, which I think is the last fully dry lap. Around about then, he did a 1:23.3. Last lap around, it was a 1:24.4. This should update pretty soon with what lap he's on at the moment as he heads towards the finish line. And what's it going to be for Jay? 1:24.9. They're nowhere near at the moment. Are we going to see a set of the soft tyres and, well, a set of the intermediate? So this is obviously bad news for those on the softs, and probably a bit of bad news for those on the mediums, as Drake has now worked his way past Hayes. Jonah's going to get past as well. And Drake's got a bit of a DRS as well to just assist him. So he keeps that 6th position for now ahead of Jonah. And that is a car in between the top 2 out of those that have pitted and in between Bogan as well. So he could get held up slightly in this situation, which is definitely not what he'd have wanted. The rain's still coming down. It's not that heavy at all at this moment in time. It stays like this. We're going to end up with just a normal race. The drivers are just going to have to be a bit more careful, especially as their tyres start to wear out.
Look at the track though, Luke. Look at the track. It's still quite dry as well. It's nowhere near enough for intermediate tyres. If I was Jay, I'll be worried. And Leonard has already passed him. I'm just looking at his tyre state. Has he got a puncture? How has he not got a puncture? On the front lefts at least. That is insane, I have to say, from Jay. But I'm keeping an eye on his rears, not at the moment. But if we see him slow down, that could be a sign of things to come. We've got Journey, who's trying to get past him as well. I think JC's going to drop down to where he was in qualifying as well, which won't be ideal. So JC's still staying out. What on earth is he doing? I think he's taking his bet on line. He's not going to get the race win, unfortunately. He's going to probably lose out even more than that. Even Sergio could catch up as well, but they're probably relieved that the gap behind is a bit more. And we've got Hazif, who's in the pits on 18 lap on medium, so he's deciding that it is either going to be wet enough for inters or not wet enough for inters and going on to the soft. So what is he going to do? I'm trying to see soft tyres, so he thinks it's good enough for slicks.
I mean, I think that's the only call at this moment in time. If you're coming into the pits now, you've got to put on a set of slick tyres. On the mediums, though, I'd have been tempted to stay out a bit longer and just try to hope for it at the moment. Just hold out as long as possible. As long as everyone else on the mediums is doing that, you're kind of okay. You're not really fighting some of those others that are on the soft, that one of the softs at the start and have gone onto the fresh medium tyres. Jay now drops down into, off of the net podium places, even before you take into account of his penalty.
David's on inters.
We've got David on inters. That is, it's worth a gamble when you're at the back of the field, but I can't help but think that is the wrong call.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong call as well, but you never know. David, I think, is 15th in here, 15th anyway, so if you're on near the back and got nothing to lose, maybe try it, and if it doesn't work, then go and put some soft tyres on. Try and go for some glory laps maybe as well and see if anyone else struggles in these conditions as well. But you never know what the weather could do towards the end of the race. And to be honest, if I was JC right now and Sergio, my tyres would have definitely gone. But that just shows that with the cooler temperatures as well and with the rain dripping down, it's not too bad. And their time management is pretty much impeccable. But you can see him cooling a little bit. So it's getting worse a little bit, but it's still quite dry. So we will have to wait and see. Run for your race order. We don't know if it's going to stay like this between now and the end of the race. It will be up to the heavens and the rain to decide that so far. So Leonard is your race leader at the moment, but he's still got to pit. I don't know when he's got to pit, but he's got to pit soon. Journey in second, Taz in third, JC in fourth, Sergio in fifth. The ones that are pitted, Drake's next with Jonah, Bogan, Morgan Ball and Marcus Towler. Marcus Towler is in a net P5 at the moment. Mark is also having a good race. If he plays a strategy run, if it doesn't rain too hard, he could be on for another good result of the season as well. Legend was near the back. He decides to do the same as David and go on to the end as well. Why not? You're having a bad race. Go for the gamble. If it does work, fair play. If it does not work, then at least you tried, and sometimes you got to take risks, so that's what you got to do. So we're going to keep an eye on if everybody else comes in. Nobody else is coming in then. Yeah, I still think it's the wrong decision, but we just don't... Oh, Sergio's in. Well, he's got no other choice, to be honest. His tyres are absolutely dead. Luckily, he's the first of the pick through, and I see green tyres. It's inters. Surely it's too early, but I might be wrong. I'm not the strategist here, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been keeping an eye on David's lap time. Coming through the first half of the lap, he's just about to come through the second Lesbo now. He's lost about 1.5 seconds this lap to Leonard. It is heading towards intermediates, but it's not there. It is not there at this moment in time, and he's losing quite a lot of time. So, hasn't worked out for him and Legend, but they were lower down the order. Sergio as well. His softs were going to go pop if he didn't hover into the pit, so kind of makes sense that he's had to do it as well. It's these drivers that started on the medium tyres are now in quite a good situation here, because would have been quite a good situation as long as they need to go onto a set of the intermediate tyres. If they don't, we're just going to see things stay the way they are, as we have got a yellow flag. Not quite sure who that is. I think that might have just been one of the cars being a bit slow, but Leonard really fighting with the car at the moment. The rain's definitely getting heavier. The times are definitely dropping from all these cars. Leonard's gone from being 123 a few laps ago to a 126.9 last time around. This is going to be 128 even. We might be now at the point where the intermediate tyres are possibly worth a shot, especially if you're Jay on the 20-odd old softs. And in fact, Journey has come into the pits. He's going to put on a set, surely, the intermediate tyres. And Jay carries on fighting again. He's got Drake Dempsey all over the back of him. DRS open then on the back of McLaren. He gets himself up into third position. Even if it does go... Oh, Jonas into the back of Jay! Lost his front wing!
Oh no, I didn't see that. I saw the onboard shot of McLaren, but Jay and Jonah made contact, and that is a shame for Jay, and I think him staying out, as long as he did, probably compromised him a little bit. A lot of people are struggling there out there. The chat is damp. Surely it is Inters. Leonard could be on for a race win. Taz could be on for his first podium. They're struggling out there for grip.
Let's not forget Journey. He pitted from just behind Leonard. He's got onto the intermediates.
He could win as well.
He's gaining on Leonard. He's got a chance here. It's going to be close between them, but he's definitely got an opportunity. Jay, now, one lap earlier, he'd have been fine. One lap earlier, Jonah would have been fine as well. But Jay has now got a puncture, and any chances of a victory, any chances of points, surely, have just gone out of the window with that puncture. But Journey, he's gaining a tiny bit every single lap here. It's going to be close with him, Leonard, and Taz for this race victory. But he'll be used to what the tyre conditions are like. He'll be used to where the grip is on these green wall tyres. Leonard and Taz will not be, of course. So I'd say at the moment, if I had to put my money where my mouth is, I'd say it's advantage to the Red Bull driver, as Taz, he stays out.
Taz stays out. I'm keeping an eye on anyone else stays out. Drake stays out. Everyone else is staying out. Leonard is taking the gamble then and going into the pits. But I think it's on the cusp of being Inters. And actually, no, it's not. It is Inters. It is Inters. Everybody is crawling. Even Drake Dempsey is struggling. Journey could be on a masterclass at the moment, as Journey and Leonard are having a battle out of the pits. And Journey, due to that undercut, he timed that strategy perfectly, and that could be the result of things to come. He could be, don't forget, he joined the lobby towards the end of qualifying. He started last, and he could be on for the first challenge. When was the first time we saw that? I think we saw a similar strategy in Canada in Tier 1 last season with Tom Martinez in similar conditions. So I wonder if he's replicating what Tom did as well. And who knows, that could be on WR highlights for many things to come at the moment. So lap 23. It's Inters. It's definitely Inters. If you're Taz, if you're Drake, if you're Bogan, they're gonna lose out on the race victory. And with Lenny Papinta absent tonight, chances of trying to gain as many points on Lenny as possible has gone down the drain. For Drake, it's not too bad. For the others, they could be in a lot of trouble here.
Jay came in and put on a set of the medium tyres. Like, I'm not quite so sure why. At the moment, it's to go straight on at the Vosgia chicane. I think just confirming that it is extremely wet out there on circuit at the moment. Drake's almost sliding his way around the parabolic as Taz comes into the pits. I think Drake's thinking here, can I hold on this set of the medium tyres? I'm 11 seconds ahead.
DRS disabled.
At the moment. DRS has been disabled, so surely that just tells you how wet it is out on track at the moment. Again, we'll do a lap time comparison. Last time around, for Drake, our actual race leader at the moment, it was a 132.2 for Jene Dovznan, the Slovenian driver, a 127.8, 4 and a bit seconds a lap with 4 laps to go. He's going to comfortably take the victory in this race at this moment in time, as long as he can keep it clean. But I think Drake, he's feeling, as long as it doesn't get any wetter, it's too late to come into the pits now.
I think it could be too late. He could drop down to where Jonah Martins is at the moment, and JC is probably regretting going onto the memes as well. As Hazif comes in, he goes onto a set of the intermediate tyres as well. So we could see from 5th down was the order. So Dave Dozvan will get the win. Then it'll be Leonard. Then it'll be Taz. Then it'll be Sergio. Sergio was one of the drivers who gambled staying on the soft tyres. His time management was impeccable, but he timed it right. by going on to a set, I think it was either another set of softs or a set of the mediums, and then went on to inters, and he's still on for a really good position. So his strategy, he's timed it to absolute perfection. Not gonna lie, he kind of wish he would have qualified outside the top 10 to be on a similar strategy as the likes of Leonard and Dozvan was, but you never know. Drake stays out. I don't know what these guys are doing. Bogan stays out. Morgan Ball stays out. I think there's no point coming in now. I think you just got to take your bed and lie in it, but I will be struggling if I were you. I know what Jake Dempsey's doing. Remember a certain Lando Norris at a certain track that they must not be named? Similar situation. Lewis Hamilton won the race. I think Drake is about to fall into that territory.
Yeah, definitely. Jay's gone off the circuit at the second Lesbo, and that's allowed Harlem to get himself up into 13th place. Yeah, it's they've tried it, Drake. They've tried something different, and it hasn't worked out. There goes Yerne. Sale is past his way past Marcus Towler up into 5th place. Morgan Ball's gone off the circuit, gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Bogan gets ahead of him, and now Yerne is right behind these drivers, and he's got to be careful in this situation because these two are going side by side into the second Lesbo. They're fighting on slick tyres. Yerne says, thank you very much. I'll just take the place. I've got the grip. Leonard's involved in this as well. There's almost contact between them. Yerne gets through. Leonard gets through as well. And all that battling is probably bad news in a way for Drake because these two on the intermediate tyres have been able to get through a lot cleaner than he would have thought. How's Taz going to do? Getting past Marcus Towler and all these drivers as well, because he's got a fantastic opportunity of getting a podium here.
Yeah, he has, and he can't screw this up. He can't screw this up. He had a very bad race last time out, and he's got to keep it cautious at this moment in time, because he knows he's on the faster tyre and the more grippier tyre. There's Morgan Ball's had a bit of a slide in the parabolica, and Taz just says, thank you very much. They almost made contact going into the start-finish straight. Always going to be absolutely intense for the final few laps. Make sure you stay tuned to WRR. Here comes Leonard then into turn 1 as they make a little bit of a spin, and Drake Dempsey's gone round. Drake Dempsey has gone round, so I think it's due to the conditions being so wet enough, but Leonard is in second, but surely that will confirm Dozvan to be your race winner. Taz has got past the medium runners, crucially, and he is up in a 2. P3, Drake Dempsey and Bogan having a battle. I don't know how these drivers are coping. This is a battle of getting points and retiring at this race. This is a battle more, not just with the drivers around you, it's a battle with yourselves.
Yeah, this is just about being extremely careful at the moment if you're on the mediums. What happened there is Drake, he was almost battling with Yerne to get back in towards the lead of this race. Leonard went round the outside, and Drake's just not got the grip, obviously, and I think just straight understeered into the side of him. And there's been contact there between Sergio and Drake. That's going to cost him a position, is it? Yes to Bogan, yes to Morgan as well. What looked like a very possible victory. All of a sudden, Drake Dempsey's now in 7th place, and he's going to find it hard to get ahead of Morgan and Bogan because you can't send it on these tyres. You're just going to go straight into the back of the car in front. Up ahead, though, Yerne comes around the final corner for the penultimate time. 2.4 seconds ahead. Harlan Marquis gets a penalty, and Mark's now got ahead of Marcus Towler. Drake gets back ahead of Morgan. Mark's going to pass these drivers as well and possibly going to jump a penalty range. All the drivers we thought were going to do fantastically well in this race aren't going to get a top 5.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing people come. I think we're seeing Jay coming into the pits as well. I don't think he's going to gain much. No, he's retired from the session. But you can see the extra grip that those Inters has compared to the mediums. So much faster as well. You can see Mark 313. He just breezed past all those medium runners. And he's up into 5th place as well. He started quite low as well. So the ones on the alternate strategy, those have paid off. They started outside the top 10. It worked. The ones who started inside the top 10, well, they're not having the best of races, are they? So we've got Dozvan, who's got to hold his nerve. This is going to be the most nerve-wracking laps of his life. He can't bottle Ascari. He can't bottle the Parabolica, because otherwise that will allow Leonard to take the race victory as well. And Taz could be on for the record books. He could be on for his first podium of the season. I believe, I'm not sure he's got any points yet, but this is his first point in a while if he keeps it clean for his Sky, which he does, thankfully. He could get P2, actually, from Leonard. He's looking very, very good. He's trying to use the ERS, but we'll watch for Dozvan. He doesn't need to use the ERS going towards the Parabolica. He's driven absolutely phenomenally. He started from the back, and he's going to go on to win his first race in WOR. Brilliant stuff from him. He's weaving a celebration. Well done to him. Leonard comes across the line in P2, and Tad's getting his first podium of the season in P3. Sergio goes across the line in fourth place. A strategy masterclass for him. And Mercedes 3-4. Who would have predicted that after qualifying? Mark giving it to Fosi something to cheer about in fifth. Bogan being the best of the ones staying out on the mediums in sixth. Then we got Drake in seventh. Morgan Bull. Oh, it's going to be very tight towards the line between Drake Dempsey and Hazib, actually. As Drake Dempsey just shows how difficult these conditions are. As we got Marcus Taylor in ninth. And Morgan Bull is your final point scorer. And then that is everybody else trying to come up towards the line, as it just proves how difficult it is. I wouldn't want to be driving in these conditions. I'm glad that we are in the commentary box and we don't get to experience that. But what a race. The people who stayed out on the mediums, they would probably regret it. If they just pitted like the guys on Dovan and Leonard did, they would have won the race.
Yeah, ifs and buts and all that, though, just really, really costly for them in the end. And it was, you know, Jerden pitted. The first driver to come into the pits onto the intermediate tyres once the track was wet enough, and that made the difference for him. Leonard gets the in-game drive for today. He was leading for quite a long time, of course, when all the soft runners had come into the pits, but stayed out one lap too long. Still gets a second place. I think all those drivers, obviously, that tried the soft to medium strategy, once they'd committed to that, they just lost chunks of time down the back of the field. We thought Drake was going to gain a huge gap over Lenny Papinta. In the end, he's only gained 6 points.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate time for him, but there's still plenty of races still to go in this WR season, so anything can happen. So I'll go through your results. I still can't believe it myself. It is Dozvan who wins this race. Leonard in P2, Taz in P3. I have to say, I have to give driver of the day to everybody who committed to the Inters early on. Fair play to them. Mark in 5th, Bogan 6th, Drake Dempsey 7th, Hazib in 8th, Marcus Taylor in 9th, Morgan Ball in 10th, and then we got David, Jonah Martins, Harlan Marquez, Legend, Dave Rombus, and JC. JC, your only retirement in this race, but I do believe he still will be classified, so technically there will be no retirements in this Italian Grand Prix. What a race. What a race it has been, and I'm still amazed about what just happened there.
Yeah, I seem to be commentating on a lot of races lately on this game, where we're seeing wet conditions at the end, and for a long, long time, it didn't look like we were going to get anywhere near wet enough to actually need a set of the intermediate tyres. We saw, I mean, David came in quite early. He was losing chunks of time. He lost, I think, a second pretty much coming out of Curva Grande, I think, on his first lap out on that set of the intermediate tyres. But just shows sometimes, I think, just kind of reading the conditions is such an important part, as we always know, of every F1 game. And maybe just if you've got an engineer there as well, to just keep an eye on what's happening on stream, because we could just start see the delta times between the intermediates and the soft change to that changeover point. Journey came into the pits and he claims a fantastic victory.
Yeah, indeed. And I think that is a race where it's crucial to have an engineer with you as well, because they can obviously see what the stream is happening. We're talking about the deltas, like you said, and also they can read the conditions and they can see how people are either struggling or doing well, potentially as well, and that's pretty much helped everybody. We'll try and see if there's anybody that's waiting to go into the interview box. We would like to see how they've coped with the changeable conditions. We wouldn't have predicted that. We thought it was going to be a completely dry race. That is why we don't ask the weather to the drivers. We like to keep it a surprise to both you and to us in the commentary box as well. So I'm trying to find out where we are next week in WOR. I think we're in Bahrain next week on the 20th of March, a track that I like racing at and I enjoy commentating on as well. And Bahrain, just like Monza, is known for its DRS trains.
Yeah, and I think one thing we can guarantee is there won't actually be any rain there. I think that's one.
Yes.
Well, I say that. I've seen an Abu Dhabi race with rain. I've now seen a Saudi Arabia race on this game with rain. I think Bahrain's the only circuit where I haven't seen it happen. But yeah, it should be a nice, comfortable, dry race, which I think a lot of these drivers would be happy about. I think Drake's just a bit annoyed by how that one's gone today.
Yep, he is. Another race which has not gone according to plan. Canada last week, where he lost out on the race victory just about to Danny Papinta, and today he kind of done the Lando Norris. Not gonna lie, he's probably gonna be known by that on Twitter now, which is a bit unfortunate, but it looks like we're not going to have anyone in for driver interviews, which is a bit of a shame, unless we can get Leonard in, because I believe Leonard was in last week, so I'll try and give him a mention. Oh, Luke's just done that as well. That's good, but I think that's given Lenny a sense of relief that the guys that are trying to capitalise it on him on the championship pretty much failed though, and that gives Lenny a good chance to fight back in Bahrain next week if he races in Tier 2. So I think Lenny is probably going to be pretty happy after this one, being that he didn't race in Tier 2 and race in Tier 1. Hopefully his race in Tier 1 went well, but he's pretty much glad that the points gap is not as big as you were probably predicting.
Yeah, I think he'd have been expecting a lot worse, especially after qualifying and especially after that first stint where it looked like Drake was doing such a good job on his ERS management. Jonah was able to overtake him back again, but was burning through a lot more of that ERS, and who knows how that race would have gone if we didn't have the moment where Jonah went into the back of Jay. I wonder if there'll be any conversations between the two of them, both WOR drivers, of course. Just so unlucky. I think it must have happened at the point where Jay got his puncture. Jonah went into the back of him, broke his front wing, ended up breaking his front wing later on in the race as well, and went from a possible victory, a probable podium, to no points whatsoever for the Aston Martin driver.
And we now have got our interviews then for both our top two in this Grand Prix. So we're going to get pretty much both of these drivers in. So let's get our race winner into the interview room. I can't pronounce your name to save my life, but can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
What a race for you. You started in the back. You pretty much did not qualify at all. You saw the conditions were getting worse. You went on to the intermediate tyres. Were you expecting to win that race there?
Yeah. When I joined the session, I was invited by the, I think, Black Panther himself.
Yeah.
So when I joined 9 minutes to go, I saw rain forecasted, and I wanted to go onto softs because it was a 0.2 pole position. I think I could be top 3 if I would practice, but I got P11 by 5,000, thankfully. But at one point at the race, like lap 20 or 19, I legit thought to pit for softs because the track wasn't getting wet. But then the track graphics, or how they say it, I saw water on track and I just decided to flip it.
Which I think it's pretty much paid off. I think you were the first driver to come into the pits for the set of Inters within the leading bunch, because we saw the likes of a few drivers outside the top 10 just taking the gamble there as well. But what made your decision to go for the undercut and go for the Inters, knowing that it may not have been as wet yet? Did you think it was going to get wet very, very quickly?
Like rain started falling very soon. I mean, very early. And it took about 5 laps for the track to get wet. And then when it was wet, I waited another lap to go for Inters because I think that lap would have been a bit too early. And the Inters just wouldn't grip up and would overheat, and I would lose time to Leonard, I think it was.
Yes. And I believe, is this your first WOR race as well? And to come across that with a race victory is probably giving you confidence if you get asked by Black Panther to fill in again. Are you hoping for more race victories, or are you just hoping for points now?
I'm hoping for more like top 3 finishes, and of course get invited to Tier 2, because currently I'm in Tier 3 with another very fast driver.
Wow. So Tier 3 driver has just won Tier 2, people. That's how crazy that race was.
Yeah, there's another Tier 3 driver that could have won with me, like beyond the podium, but he got the glitch where he couldn't join.
No.
It's Esteban Puki. I'm sure we'll see him soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see him soon. Luke, any questions?
Yeah, congratulations on the win, Journey. How tough was it trying to go through the cars that run the medium tyres? Because obviously, you know, you've got so much more grip than them, but they're going to be slower into the corners, slower out of the corners. Did you have to be careful at any points?
Yeah, there was a point. I think 2 of them made a roadblock in both Lesmos, and I was trying to get past, but in the first Lesmo, but then I realized what they were doing. Like maybe it was teaming. I'm not gonna say it was, but then I just decided to go for the switchback because I know they will run wide with the slicks on the wet.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Congratulations on the win. I'll hand you back to Jess.
Thank you very much. And another crazy winner who remembers Pierre Gasly won in a sort of crazy circumstance as well, but it wasn't in the dry. So big congratulations. And if we see you next week in Bahrain, then best of luck. If not, best of luck in your Tier 3 race around Monza. Hopefully you'll be able to replicate what you did tonight, eh?
Yeah, thank you.
Right then, so let's go and interview a person that has been on the podium twice now in 2 weeks. He probably wasn't expecting it after his qualifying. Leonard, can you hear us?
Yeah, sure.
Leonard, another really brilliant performance as well. You decided to go on to the alternate strategy. You saw that the rain was going to come and you got your second podium in a row. You must be racking up the points here this season.
Yeah, it went pretty much perfect. I knew it was gonna end in the rain because of a glitch of the game. Yeah, so that's why I qualified outside of the top 10, and it went perfectly.
I had a feeling you were going to do that because you were looking so good in the race, and I had a feeling you were just doing a bit of sandbagging and quality to get that alternate strategy. Well played from you so far. But did you know about the slots there? Did you knew that it was going to come at that point, or were you just hoping it would come as late as possible?
I was actually hoping it was gonna come a bit earlier, because it came quite late. I think it started to rain at lap 19 and we pit lap 22. I was hoping for it to start like lap 15, because at that point most soft runners already pitted, and I would have been able to be in P1 already. But yeah, it still worked out. It was quite close in the end. Bit closer than I would have liked, but yeah, it still worked out perfectly. Still, it is. I think it might actually be P1 post penalties, because the guy ahead of me, Yen, I think it was called DNF, cut the exit of Ascari a couple of times.
Ooh.
So I may be able to win the race post penalties.
You never know as well. I think the drivers have been warned about the cutting through Ascari as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. So, Luke, do you have any questions for Leonard?
Yeah, congratulations, Leonard. You got, as I just quickly check here, you got third last time out at Canada, second here at Italy. How do you fancy your chances of making it a clean sweep and getting a victory in Bahrain?
I'm not really good at Bahrain. I obviously hope for a victory, but I don't think it will happen. I think in both Canada and Italy now there has been rain. I don't think there will be rain in Bahrain. So yeah, you gotta hope for the best, but I don't think it will happen again.
Yeah, I think expect the unexpected. I think rain in Bahrain would be taking that a bit too far. But congratulations on your podium tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll let you go and celebrate, Leonard. I don't think we have P3 waiting in the interview box, so we will wrap it up there for this World Online Racing stream tonight. And just like we saw last season with Daniel Ricciardo and the season before that with Pierre Gasly, we got an unexpected winner. And to be honest, I couldn't be more happier.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really interesting race. You weren't quite sure which strategies were going to work out towards the end. I think it got to a point after it had been raining for probably 3 or 4 laps. We thought, nah, it's never getting wet enough for this set of intermediate tyres. But those on the mediums pushed on, stayed on their set of mediums, and it just turned out to be the right thing for Journey, taking a victory. A Tier 3 driver taking a win in Tier 2. Didn't expect to be seeing that this season.
No, I didn't as well. So who knows? He may be making more regular appearances in Tier 2 in the future. And like we said, he has got a race coming up this week as well around Monza. That is perfectly good practice for him for the races to come. So I've been Jessica Ball and Luke's been Luke Etheridge. And we will see you same time next week, 8 PM UK time, for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Make sure you check out the Tier 1 stream on the PC, which happened a moment ago. And we also got Xbox Tier 1 on tomorrow at 8 PM, so check it out that. And also PS Tier 1 on at 8 PM on Friday. So for myself and Luke, see you next week. Have a good evening and goodbye.